Hello, my name is Lisa and welcome to One Lisa Show. In this episode, I want to talk about my March sewing and crafting plans, so stay tuned. So February, I made a whole bunch of items and I did post my February makes. Now, I did not plan to make that many items, it just happened. I didn't feel pressured at all. However, this month I'm going to take it easy because I do feel with work, we're going to start seeing the shift where I'll be busier and spending more time working. And I'm hoping. And with that, I may not have as much time to devote. And I do have a bigger project that I'd like to accomplish this month. So without further ado, I made this top last spring. It was one of the first things I did make. I made a skirt and then I made this top. This is the Butterick 6563. It's a Gertie, a pattern by Gertie blouse. And I love this style of blouse. I had a nice collection of those and then I gained weight and they don't fit me anymore. So I made this last spring and I've worn it. It is very big on me. I made a size 20 and I just realized that yesterday when I was looking through this pattern because I did cut the pattern. And I made a size 20, which you'll forgive me, I have to read this. And I have to take off my glasses to read this. The size 20 is a 42-inch bust. I have a 40-inch bust at the widest point, and that would be an 18. But when I did make the 20 last time, it was so big that I took it in on the side seams after I made it, and then I also, the sleeves started like down here. So when I did that, I went back in and sewed more up to try to make it up. I still wear that shirt. I do love that shirt. I have some notes on it, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it about 1.5 inches longer because I think it's too short, and I am going to try to make the size 16, which is for a 38 bust, a 30 waist, and a 40 hip. But the finished width of, I should just take these glasses off because I'm going to read a little bit, because the finished width of the lower edge of the top for a size 16 is 47, which is plenty of ease, I believe. And knowing I made it once in the size 20 and it was just way too big. And I did chalk a lot of it up to error on my end because it was my second project last year that wasn't a mask. And it was my last spring is when I started sewing again, like really sewing. I've never sewn this much in my entire life. But if I want to just go over this blouse is, so I've made this version. I plan to make this one again. You could do a sleeveless, and you can also do one with a pointy collar and a little tie. This also has non-puffy sleeves, kind of like short sleeves, but they're like cap sleeves would be better. The line drawings on the back, so you can see the different variations. So there's not much difference. The body of the shirt is the same for all three. And also there is a pocket, so you could insert a pocket if you'd like. And you could do the Peter Pan collar or the pointy collar. It doesn't have a collar stand. So I distinctly remember having a hard time with the collar when I made it the first time. But now that I've done a few more items since, I'm really excited to revisit this. And the reason I'm revisiting this is because last week I did go to Joann's. Now, I said I wasn't going to buy fabric, and I am like everybody else. I'm not going to buy fabric. Well, I bought fabric the day after Christmas on Boxing Day. Minerva had a sale. So that fabric came in January, and I promised my boyfriend I would not buy more fabric until I used some of my stash. I have since used a lot of my stash. I didn't really have a stash to begin with. I have about 4 good-sized pieces of fabric. That's it. And to him, that's too much. Little does he know what he's in store for. So anyway, that was the last time I bought a good amount of fabric, a good fabric haul. And then last week, no, 2 weeks ago, I was in Walmart getting some things, and I walked past the craft station and I saw the end of bolts, like these remnant pieces, end cuts, whatever you want to call them. They're prepackaged, 2 yards for $4. And I bought 2, a black and I bought a white. The white was textured. I made the top out of it my last video I showed you. I wasn't impressed with the fabric after I washed it and made the top. Because they're folded up really tight, you can't feel the inside of the fabric. You only feel that outside. You can't like unravel it to really see the thickness of the fabric and the quality, and stretch it out to see. It was a knit. Stretch it out really to see, you know, how tightly knitted or woven it is. It's denier, so I wasn't pleased with that. But I did buy 2 of those fabrics. One was just a black cotton spandex jersey blend. That is on my list. I'll show that to you. And then that white one, which I made a South Bank sweater. Oh, by the way, I'm wearing a Freya today. The fabric was Claire's fabric from Joann's. But anyway, so last week I was at Joann's. They had flannel on sale for like $2.75 a yard, $2.74 a yard. And they bought a couple more yards of flannel fabric with springtime colors, light blue and light green, with the intentions to some point make my brother a flannel. I'm not concerned about that right now, but they also had in the clearance section, there was about a little less than 1.5 yards of this shirting fabric. I just took it out of the dryer, so it is all crinkly because I wanted to wash it. But so I have about a little less than 1.5 yards of this gorgeous shirting fabric. It's navy blue. It is very thin. It's a lightweight shirting fabric. And like I said, it is wrinkly, as you can tell, but it has a gorgeous drape. It's a little see-through. And I have decided it would be perfect. If I cannot fit the sleeves in, I will do the sleeveless. But that's the perfect amount of fabric to make this. It actually calls for more. It calls for 2 yards of fabric. However, I took the pieces out. I put them up here. I can get both front and back easily on this fabric. And there's plenty left over. I think I could actually fit the puffy sleeves in, but if I can't, I would go sleeveless. I'm not a fan of those cap sleeves because I have girth here. Probably gonna cut that out. So now getting back to the fabric I got from Walmart. Here is black cotton spandex blend. Simple. It is a lightweight jersey knit, but it's standard black. I don't usually buy fabrics that are a solid color, so this is going to be a great staple. And I have decided I'm going to make a cocoa top. I'm going to do a 3/4 sleeve, and I may do a pocket. The cocoa top is by Tilly and the Buttons. I actually made a larger size one out of fleece for like a sweatshirt. And I used I did the funnel neck, and I love how that looks. I'm not going to do the funnel neck on this. I'm going to make it probably closer to this style, but it's going to be a top, not the dress. Because this is a thin jersey, and I really would like it as a top. Here are the line drawings. So you can see the different options if you have not made this or heard about this. This is a great pattern. And I have the Tilly and the Buttons stretch book, which I talk about probably almost every episode on here. And I absolutely love it. I've learned a lot working with knits. It's something I never did before this past year. I never worked with knit fabrics. I only worked with basically quilting cotton my entire life, because that's what we would buy. And Walmart used to sell in the 90s. Walmart had a massive craft section that was, filled with quilting cottons. And they had a lot of quilting notions, haberdashery, and we would buy quilting cottons and make things out of them, and they sold patterns very cheap. So unfortunately, Walmart's craft section is not like that anymore. Their fabric section is disgusting in my opinion, and I feel like they should get back to what they were good at and what made them well known in our country. Besides cheap prices, because now you have cheap quality and cheap prices. Before, you used to have good quality and cheap prices. And it wasn't even about the price when it came to the quilting cotton. It was such a wide selection. It took up such a big portion of the store. Actually, every Walmart I went to had a big portion. And that was back in the day where you'd go on vacation, you'd want to check out other Walmarts. If you were in another town, you'd be like, oh, they got a Walmart. Let's check it out. And it was that way, believe it or not. Now, where I live anyway, Walmart is not like that. Walmart has an aisle for the craft section, and it's all pre-cut fabrics, and they have this tiny little area for patterns. It's just very sad. I did revisit this, and I will be making the size 6. It goes from size 1 to 10, with a bust of 30 inches all the way to 48 inches on my pattern. Waist of 24 all the way to 42. Again, I am a 40-inch bust, so I am going to do the size 6. And this is a yard and a half, and I believe I will happily have enough fabric for my Tilly and the Buttons Cocoa. So I don't have many projects. The third thing I do want to say that I'm not going to show is I am going to participate in the Frugal Frocks 2021 challenge. I'm not one of their featured vloggers or YouTubers at all. However, I am thinking that's a great project, and to be honest with you, I don't know if I have a big enough piece of fabric in my stash that I want to make, because I've been looking at free patterns. If you don't know what the Frugal Frocks challenge is, please just put Frugal Frocks 2021 in YouTube, and you'll see tons of videos on it. And that is part of, it's like a March challenge. You use a free pattern and you use a fabric from your stash. So I don't have a big stash. I'm actually thinking I'm going to piece together some fabrics and do like a patchwork and make a dress out of my scraps. So I will really be frugaling it. And I've been looking at a few patterns. There's a couple patterns on Mood that I'm interested in, but aren't really doing it for me. So I might want to change some things up. Like I might not like the sleeve version, or or the cleavage. They do have a lot of free patterns where there's a lot of cleavage. So I would probably adjust that, because that's not, I want to wear it out and feel like I can wear it to work. There's also Peppermint Magazine has free patterns on their website, and I like one of their patterns as well. So that's my item 3. And then my final item 4, is Simplicity 8014. It's a shirt dress pattern that I picked up last month. 4 different options. Basically, if you like longer sleeves or shorter sleeves, if you want a mandarin collar or a traditional pointy collar, and if you want it to be more flared, like A-line fit and flared, or it's kind of a straight down. And pockets. And I will show you the back line drawing as well. I can't see because of my screen. But anyway, I have circled 2. I am thinking view B or view C. I absolutely love this, but I don't have any denim fabric. And by the way, I'm going to buy fabric this month because I don't want to have a huge stash of fabric, but I do want to have, the stash I have is bits, it's leftovers. I save my scraps in a bag, like the tiny little scraps. I save those in a bag because if I want to use that as stuffing for either a stuffed animal or a dog toy or make a pillow or one of those poofs, I can do that. And then I have medium-sized scraps that might be good for masks, hair scrunchies, Barbie clothes. I can do that. And then I have my stash. And my stash has like 4 fabrics in it. And they're all, they're not. Or the remnants that I buy, that I've bought through the years, so I might have less than a yard. I call that a medium scrap. So he has no idea. He just sees a Rubbermaid tote filled with fabric, and he's like, that's a lot of fabric, but it's not. Anyway, And he doesn't even care. I could do whatever I want, but just rambling. So I will probably do one of these, and I haven't figured out my size yet. I'm going to do the 16 or the 18. It goes from, this is a simplicity. It's good for chambray, cotton types, denim, gingham, lightweight denim, linen, poplin, sateen, seersucker, it even says. And it is for a bust of 30.5 inch waist to a 46 inch. I'm sorry, a bust of 30.5 inches to 46 inches. And waist 23 to 39. However, if you do the flared, it looks like it's going to be, it doesn't matter what your hip size is, in my opinion, but I could be wrong. And I'm leaning to this one. I don't know what color I'll do yet. And then I have two fabrics that I haven't even set out to see if I have enough. So it could easily be this version, because this is going to take a lot less fabric. And one of these fabrics I have shown you before, and every month I'm like, I'm going to make something with this. And I don't. And there is something about, I am nervous, I guess, to cut into this fabric. I love it so much. I want it to be the right project. The two fabrics out of the 4 in my stash are my lemon fabric. This is the one I've talked about. It's from Joann's. It's a cotton, quilting cotton fabric that I absolutely love. And I keep saying I want to make a dress with it, but I never make the dress. So I am excited because I might use this. But if all else fails, I have something that I think would be perfect. It's some black and white check gingham from Minerva. I have not washed this yet, and it's been sitting. I thought I did, but I don't see any frays. Well, maybe there are. Maybe there are. I take it back. Maybe I did wash this. I probably will wash it again because I hate shrinkage in a dress after you make it. So a nice 1/4 inch check gingham, black and white. I think that would make a lovely springtime dress. And I'm hoping I have enough fabric from one of these two. And I think when I start buying fabric, because I do plan to buy fabric this month, I have a huge order in my Minerva shopping basket right now. And I think when I start to buy fabric, unless it's like knit fabric where I know right away this is going to be a top or this is going to be that, I think I'm going to start just buying 3 yards instead of 1.5 yards or 2 yards, because that's what I was doing before. I think I'm just going to go off the bat and do 3 yards, unless I know specifically what I will use it for, because that gives me plenty of playroom, wiggle room to make something. And if it doesn't turn out right, I have extra, hopefully, or I could do something else with it as well. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day. And I do plan to have a Friday Sews video this week. So hang in there, stay tuned, and thank you again. If you have any ideas for anything I said, please comment below. I do read the comments, and they're very helpful. So thank you.